Hello, it's Gabby from your IBS support group, and along with Desiree, we're your group admins. So throughout the course of this month, we're doing Facebook Lives, really just to talk about the different aspects of IBS and just help in the education of it, and hopefully you'll find some useful tips that you can implement. So today is all about, are we guessing instead of testing? Now this is quite a big subject because often by the time people have been diagnosed with IBS, they may have been through a whole gamut of tests and really nothing has shown of any significance and they've been labelled with IBS. But ultimately IBS is actually just a label and it's not really explaining how your body is producing the symptoms. You know, by the time clients come to us, they have literally been down every route. They've spent so much money and got cupboards full of medications or natural supplements and literally tried all sorts. And it's difficult because when we're talking about doing further testing, there can be that slight fear element. Number one, of cost, because often these tests are private. But number two, of is this just going to lead me down a blank route again? The interesting thing is though, is that the right form of testing is incredibly enlightening. So it's from this that you can determine lots of different things about yourself. I mean, how do you know that the supplements that you're taking are what you actually need? This is the same with medications because it's quite a broad spectrum, the types of things that people are given. So a naturopath is somebody that looks at the whole big picture to find out what's going on. So whichever health practitioner you choose to use in the end, I would say appropriate testing helps you piece together the puzzle of what could be going on in your body. So the sorts of testing that I'd usually suggest are finding out if you've got something called SIBO. So SIBO is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, and it's a really simple breath test. So your practitioner can send you a kit. You complete the test at home after drinking a certain solution, and you blow into something and collect your breath. That's usually how a SIBO test is done. Sometimes it's done through stool analysis as well. But this can show you if the bacteria that you have is actually is migrated to the wrong place in the intestines. So instead of being housed in the large intestine, it's started to overgrow in the small. And that actually can produce diarrhea, gas, bloating, extreme pain, basically misery. But it is actually fairly easily eradicated, but it's about changing that internal environment. Other tests that are really useful are stool samples. So a stool sample can look at lots and lots of different, they're called markers. So markers for inflammation to see if actually the body is properly become inflamed internally and that's why it's responding with such aggression. It also looks at your digestion and absorption. So you can look at different markers that show perhaps maybe you're not digesting your food effectively, maybe you're not breaking down fats, maybe there's undigested food residues there. It looks at something called gut microbiome, which is all the beneficial bacteria that's supposed to be there in the gut, and you can see whether there's complete species completely lacking in the gut. I've seen that a lot actually, or maybe you have an overgrowth of a particular type of species, but although it's a good bacteria, that may be presenting some issues. The stool test can also look at whether there are yeasts. So yeasts or fungal overgrowth could be present there within the DNA of the stool, and that in itself can produce issues, certainly bloating and certainly reactions to lots of different types of foods. There may be a bacteria, and there may even be parasites. Parasites are actually incredibly common, and as they are going through their life cycle, they're laying eggs. Those eggs are migrating usually to either the small or large intestine. Once they've actually opened, they start the whole life cycle where they are metabolizing things and they're shedding toxic byproducts. As you can imagine, that's really going to make you feel very ill. If you know what type of parasite, then you can use the appropriate either medication or actually usually the herbal ones are really effective for this in order to eradicate it. Other types of tests that can be done are via urine. So urine looks at the metabolic products. So this is the end products of metabolism. So basically, by the time you've weeded something out, it's gone through this whole cycle in your body. Your body's used up certain things and then gets rid of other things. And the urine test is really useful because if somebody has, say, anxiety, really bad anxiety, or even depression along with their IBS, we can see how the body is metabolizing and utilizing those neurotransmitters or those mood chemicals. And that's actually just done via urine. Certain foods are avoided prior to the test, and then I think just a few days. And then this test is done. And also you can see if there's been exposure to molds. So this is external fungi, whether it's something in your environment that could actually be triggering your IBS. And it looks at internal pathogens, yeasts again, bacteria, etc. So there's all these different types of tests, but what it allows you to do is find out what is causing your IBS. And then from there, an appropriate plan can be put together, usually by your naturopath or other healthcare professional who understands how the body works and is able to guide the body through a particular process. If a pathogen's found, it's not just about killing it off, it's about preparing the way. So we have to make sure that all the elimination channels are open properly. That's your bowel, your liver, your lungs, your skin, your kidneys, etc. And a correct path is followed so that the body is at its optimum health by the time you actually then start to clear any pathogens. So it's a useful exercise to do. Personally, this saves money. When people do appropriate testing, it cuts out all those years of struggling and finding out what's going on. It means that all those bags full of supplements that I find people come to me, they're not needed. I mean, a fraction of those are needed because you're using the right supplements, because you have a plan in place. So this is all food for thought. The appropriate lab tests, I think, are highly recommended. There's stool analysis, there's breath analysis for SIBO, and urine analysis to find out how you're metabolizing things in the body. So if you have any questions on this, you can always speak to me or Desiree. You can send us a personal message if you want, or speak to your healthcare professional. These tests are usually done privately, so I don't think it's something that you may necessarily get on your insurance. Your regular doctor may not know about them, but it's worth you doing your research, finding out a bit more, because it might be of help to you. So I hope this has been useful. Be sure to tune in tomorrow as well, 2 p.m. Eastern Time and 7 p.m. UK. Take care. Bye.